It's 27 minutes after 7. Let's, of course, keep you updated out in Diepsloot, where residents say they're tired of crime within the area. But my colleague Gareth Edwards standing by with the very latest. Gareth, good morning to you again, partner. What do you have for us where you stand? Let's just listen in, I suppose, my team telling me that, of course, the lady in front of us is the wife of the victim that was, of course, killed last night in that mob justice. Listen in.
Tumza, if you're still with me at the moment, we've just been hearing from the wife of the victim of the mob justice attack last night. This is her home. A number of community members gathering around the area as are clearly distraught. You can imagine the terror the family went through last night as well, and just the sadness in the community this morning. There's a lot of people coming through to her home now to come and just be with her, support her. At the moment, it's still not clear exactly what the police presence was last night. We were hearing earlier there wasn't much police presence. I'm going to just step back so I can speak a little bit louder. Tumza, but yeah, it seems from everyone we've spoken to this morning, no police presence here last night, no one to assist. It was only when EMS arrived on the scene that they were able to get anything done. But this is the house that's in the very same road, probably about 50 meters from here, is where the attack itself took place. There's an unknown number of people who were in the area, breaking into the house, pulling him out of the house. The other allegation we have is that he actually ran away, and that's where the mob got their hands on him late last night. But the wife clearly just too distraught to speak at the moment. She was speaking to some media a couple of minutes ago, but I think it's obviously just very overwhelming, far too much for her at the moment. But the community are here, everyone being very helpful, just try and calm her down, but clearly at the moment it's in no state to talk to anybody. We also don't have the age. We do know he was a Zimbabwean national. We understand that there was a mob walking around last night, breaking into various houses, demanding to see ID books and passports. Speaking to Prince earlier, one of the community members and his neighbour of this victim, saying that they were even looking for weapons. We're not too sure what that was about at all. I'm going to attempt to speak to the wife one more time. Good morning. How are you? What happened? What can you tell me?
Bamthethe bamchisela lana bathi bamchisele ngapha estradeni bathi kakhipha isibhamu wayebaleka yena nxa kuthiwa bafuna ama-passport ID wayebaleka kusho ukuthi unesibhamu bamthathele khonokho nje sengiyabatshela ukuthi hayi akunasibhamu setshani libhode yonke indawo li-check ukuthi kuhamba njani lizibhodele nje bathi kulamanga sikhona ngathi hayi asikho baqeda baphuma laye umna wakho ngabe ngifonela umna wakho abe nje ukuthi hayi sensiye to epolice wahambe epolice bamtshela ukuthi umuntu onjalo uchiselwe lapha.
Amaphoyisa aphi ngaleso sikhathi lento yenzakala?
Hayi mina vele angizange ngibone iphoyisa, angeke ngakhuluma amanga. Angizange ngibone iphoyisa, ngibone abantu abaningi, ijarada lonke libabonile abantu ngoba bonke bebenokhelo. Thina sazama ukuthi sithi othi sibaleke siyecatsha nje. Bathi licatshele ukuthi uthi banezibhamu. Bathi abana next.
Bonke labantu bahlala lana indaba bayingena straight.
Hayi abasuye yedwa bathethe beyi2. Bona de bebaleke nami ibaba bathethe bathi wayebebaleka.
What I'm going to do for the moment, Tums, if you don't mind, Gloria, my producer, was busy speaking to the wife. I'm trying to sort out my cables here. Give me a second, guys. It's a very small space we're standing in. Gloria, my producer, had a chance to speak to the wife as well. The little bits that I was able to pick up, it was about coming into the house and trying to find ID books, passports. That is what they were talking about. Also, I think Gloria indicating explained to me that there was very little police presence in the area, feeling helpless, feeling left alone, especially after hearing that the police minister, that the police minister was going to deploy more police to the area. But as we heard earlier, the moment the police minister had left, then the community feeling that all the police had left with him, and that's what resulted in this incident last night. The criminality in the area know when to strike, they know where to strike, and she feels she was let down by the police who were meant to protect her husband.
Absolutely, Gareth. I mean, I was definitely listening in, and I think just the visuals of seeing a wife weep for her husband, feeling helpless, having witnessed what happened, taken from, their home and, running away for his life because he could not produce that, passport or identification document. I remember, Gareth, just as we were on an ad break, just before we came to latch on to you live on air, I did hear the wife as well say to you, Gareth, as well as members of the media, there that they asked for her ID document. She could produce her passport, and that's when the assailant said to her, then where's the gun? And she further said that she did not have a gun, but she was then assaulted still. Until those assailants still continued to pursue her husband. And unfortunately, that's where he met his untimely death, as we understand that he was killed allegedly by that mob justice incident. I can imagine, Gareth, what that means or what that's doing to the family. But just tell us what you see there, because I'm looking at those visuals. I'm just wondering, is that blood we're seeing, blood stains that we're seeing where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Shahid, our camera person, pans to the right. This is the road that leads down to this main intersection. Just down there to the right-hand side, down this road to the right, is where you would have seen the scene of the attack. That blood you would have seen on the door. I'm not too sure at this moment whether it was the victim's blood or somebody who was assisting him as well, but there's definitely blood on the door. There's blood in the garden as well. But this is not a very long walk. If I had to estimate this road here, it's actually to the left. It's this little road which then turns down to the left, and we understand that they broke into the house here, and this person, this victim that was killed in the mob justice, ran out of the house, and it's a fair distance as well. If you walk through the streets of Extension 1 in Diepsloot, he down this road, Tumza, being chased by these mobsters, these criminals. He turned down this road, trying to get to roads. It's worth remembering the position where we are now. We're probably a good 2-3 kilometers away from the police station as well. You can see community members on the right-hand side also standing, a lot of people in disbelief here this morning as well. And this would have been the scene. But imagine this, late at night, I'm not seeing any real street lights anywhere as well, so this would have been completely pitch black. There was a lot of confusion, and just through these gates on the right hand side is where we enter back onto the tar road, and it's about 30-40 meters down from there as we get to another main road where clearly the mob managed to catch him. At that point, obviously it seems that all logic had gone out the window. They were infuriated that he ran away. They were asking him questions about weapons, and as we heard from the wife, wanting to see ID books, passports, unable to produce any of that at all. And a lot of the neighbors standing around this morning just didn't quite understand what was going on last night. You can actually see them standing here all talking to each other, just trying to get a sense of what actually happened. And then this is the main road where we turn right, and you'll see there just near our vehicle, that is where the attack itself took place. I would estimate that to be maybe about 100-150 meters. So you can imagine the trauma for the wife to know that it's not too far away from where her husband was attacked and killed last night here in Diepsloot.
Yeah, and I suppose the concern, Gareth, once more about police visibility and police presence this morning, I can imagine it being a continuation of a concern, because one would expect that to be a crime scene, to be cordoned off for investigations, for any, evidence, fingerprints, for any witnesses to, I suppose, give out, testimony of what they saw, because as we heard a bit earlier on from, the victim's friend and, the witness who was with him him when that particular, mob justice occurred against his friend. There were many people who came and running after them and pursuing him. So that would be expected to be a crime scene this morning. But I mean, from where I stand, Gareth, perhaps you could even correct me, I don't see any tape, police tape, which cordons off that area so that any evidence should not be contaminated with. You did show us the glove there, suspected to be that perhaps of the members of the EMS. We're not sure as yet. There's blood, fresh blood still on the streets. And I suppose these are the concerns that residents continue to reflect on, to say even when there's crime as fresh as this, because it only happened just last night, still there isn't police presence post that crime incident.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when we were speaking to a member of the SAPS this morning, when we were told about this particular incident, what we were also told is that the police aren't here anymore because they've wrapped up. There's nothing more for them here. And that's what caught my attention, which is why we came to this scene. And you're 100% correct. This is still a crime scene. But you wouldn't know it if you're standing here. There's still cars driving by. I've just seen some little kids walking past on their way to school. It's eerily normal. This should not be normal, but sadly this has become what we're being told is the reality for those living in Diepsloot. There are murders, there are killings, the police aren't here. I'm still standing in this road about 2 kilometers away from the police station. I've yet to see a police van. I haven't seen a police car, I haven't seen a police officer, and I'm standing, me and Shahid are probably standing a meter, maybe 2 meters away where somebody was killed last night. And I think this is exactly what is infuriating the residents. They're all standing here, everyone seems to have an idea what was going on. The police aren't here, they're not asking questions, no statements being taken. As you say, no police tape that tape that we're all used to seeing around crime scenes. The roads are still littered. And everyone just going about their day. And I think this is probably the saddest part of this whole story, is this is just seemingly becoming normal everyday life for the residents here in Diepsloot. In fact, if you look a little up the road, Shahid, you can see a couple of youngsters busy rehearsing, I'm sure, something for a dance of some kind. I'm seeing even some people smiling up the road, and that makes you wonder, Tumza, it has to make you wonder, the desensitization of the violence here and how reliant this community has become on themselves to sort out these situations, because they can't rely on the police. They're not here. That is simply what this argument is about. Despite what the police minister is saying, there's no police presence. I'm not seeing anyone.
Yeah. If you may allow me, partner, I want to just reflect on what, that trip looked like from Police Minister Diepsloot yesterday, including National Police Commissioner Masemola. I mean, the minister's saying that he has deployed specialist police teams to Diepsloot. And this is because just this past weekend alone, we're not talking about the incident yesterday where one person was confirmed to have been killed allegedly by this mob justice. There were 7 more people who were killed over the weekend. So you are literally in a township where they've just been reeling of 7 people who had been killed previously, and now another person had been killed yesterday. And it sounds to me like there are more promises about, task teams and, specialist, police teams that will be deployed to Diepsloot. And I suppose that's why members of the community are so frustrated, staging that shutdown, because those promises are not fulfilled. So it seems that what the minister said yesterday definitely didn't bear fruit if immediately after he made that pronouncement, one person was killed after that.
That's exactly the point, and that's exactly why the residents are so upset. Promises made by the police ministry years ago, which they say have not been fulfilled, which is why we have seen the shutdown that we have, which is why we've seen the roads barricaded. The minister and the police commissioner, the MEC for safety and security coming out as well, making the promises that the community, it seems, wanted to hear. But once again, if you look around and the people that we've had a chance to speak to, they're saying that these promises are still not being fulfilled. In fact, exactly to your point, where are the increased visibility of police? Some 30 to 50 more police officers supposed to be in the area. I'm not seeing them. 16 more patrol vehicles in the area. I'm not seeing them. And we are only about 2 kilometers away from the police station itself. Even driving past the police station, I wasn't able to view any vehicles outside. You would have imagined that's where the hotspot of police vehicles would have been. But as you can see there, we have residents simply driving past the crime scene as though it's an ordinary Thursday in Diepsloot. And I suppose this is exactly what residents are saying. The minister arrives, the police arrive, especially when the cameras are here, all the right things get said. And then within minutes of the police minister leaving and the police commissioner, the police vanish as well. And then residents stand around trying to figure out what's gone on. And then come 11 o'clock last night, it was this area here, this street, this scene, where untold terror must have unfolded. Residents probably just standing by, don't quite know what to do when this mob attacked the Zimbabwean national, found him here at this spot and meted out their own version of justice. And this is where we stand this morning, by ourselves with the community of Diepsloot, with not a single member of authority anywhere to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely, colleague. And I know that, partner, with that being said, answers are needed at this time, at this pressing time from the SAPS or even the police ministry once more. I know that Lindelo Masakane, whom we'll cross to in a couple of minutes' time, is standing by at the police station, I understand, right there in Diepsloot. She did speak to Brigadier Brenda Muridile a bit earlier on, saying no arrests have been made to find the killers and suspects who are involved in the killing of that one victim last night, saying those investigations are still ongoing and are still pressing. Some information the brigadier saying that she could not share because they're more operational sensitive at this time, but we're hoping to get more just commentary from the SAPS out in Diepsloot with Lindelo Masakane in a couple of minutes. Of course, our viewers may stay tuned for that, but I would of course leave you for now, partner, and we'll come back to you of course as soon as there are other developments within the area.